Hey, what's up, boxing fans? This is the Rope-A-Dope Report. I am your host, Chris Carlson. I'm in the process of getting a new computer, so I've been doing it at my buddy's house, just uploading stuff. So, like I said, I'm sorry to all my subscribers. I'm actually coming up here on my 4th month of the show, so I'd like to thank all my subscribers. Let's get into my topic today. It's not a prediction fight, it's a topic video. And this is something that happens. Let me turn this down a little bit. This is something that is on a lot of videos. I guess my question is, why do people hate, not dislike, not favor other brawling style fighters, but why do people hate boxer type fighters? And I call boxers people that box, okay, or box and brawl. Not fighters. I just call fighters fighters. So, not to get that all confused, but I just see so much hate. Now, I understand that it can be a more boring fight sometimes. Don't get me wrong, okay? But it's words like coward and pussy and gay weather and all that stuff. And actually, it's kind of, Mayweather brings a lot of this on his own, no doubt. But when you're talking about his skill level, a lot of people just say he runs. And I think NC Ruff, There Will Be Blood boxing show, he made a good point saying, you know, he doesn't really run. He actually stays in the pocket a lot of the fight. And he actually boxes around the ring, circles around the ring, and then slowly works himself in the pocket. And sometimes, like against Zab Judah and a couple other guys that kind of don't like being attacked, he slowly goes to the pocket. Now, he's had boring fights, and don't just call me this Floyd lover, because if you look at my channel, you can see that I just put out the top 10 most exciting fighters to watch, and he wasn't on it, okay? So, I'm realistic. He has had snoozers. He's had some okay fights, like the Baltimore fight. For like 6 rounds and 8 rounds, Floyd fights and boxer-type fights can be fun to watch. And then it can be a snooze fest, you know. You can be like, oh, he's got a lot of skill, and oh, that was smooth. But then you start to go, oh, the guy is kind of, you know, Baltimore's just kind of trying to survive, and Floyd's not trying to take him out. So I understand. And this is just not about Floyd. Just in general, I mean, there can be some good fighters, but to call people heartless and runners and gay and pussies, that's bullshit. Okay, sorry about the language today, but to say someone has no heart or is afraid to fight, they're professional fighters, okay? Just getting in that ring says a lot. Probably a lot more than you. And I know a lot of people fought amateur that's on YouTube. That's still different, man. That takes a lot of guts to do. And a lot of hard work. And when you do 3 months of hard work, or you just go non-stop and train all the time, you're a gym rat, that's a lot of heart and a lot of dedication. So I guess I'm just sick of it. I mean, I'm trying to think. You know, here's the deal. When a guy tries to brawl a brawler, like Victor Ortiz and Marcus Maidana, okay? He had the lead in that fight. Now, you may think Maidana would have caught him with something late, and when Ortiz went down, he did look more hurt than Maidana. But he had at least a 3 to 2 point lead in the fight going into the 6th round. If he would have been smart and used his jab and just picked times where he entertained the crowd, instead of just entertaining the crowd, he could have won. I believe he would have won the fight, but he definitely could have finished it and probably won the fight. Kermit Cintrone against Angulo. I picked against Cintrone because he never showed he could box. He always tried to just brawl instead of using your brain. Sometimes there's fighters like Bernard Hopkins that just make you look ugly and look bad, you know. And Kermit boxed and won the fight. A lot of people that thought Cotto won against Clottey. I had Clottey, you know, by 1, but it was a tight fight. He boxed a little in there to, you know, late rounds to be smart. You know, he had the cut. He had to, you know, he was getting worn down. He used his head, and that was a good ass fight. Now that's the thing. People think that, you know, good technical matches can't be good. They're boring. And don't get me wrong, some are very, very boring, okay? Don't get it wrong, but you have to at least respect their skill, okay? I mean, guys like Sugar Ray Robinson, he brawled, but he also boxed too. Okay, I got a couple names here. Ali, especially first go around. You know, once he came back and after really that third Frazier fight, he basically just sat on the rope and was a boring fighter to watch. But he boxed circles around people and he was fun to watch. Even guys like Duran, Tyson, and Frazier in their primes, yeah, they didn't box all day, don't get me wrong, but they were skillful. They had the head movement. They went to the body. They were all-purpose. They used jabs. They were smart fighters. I mean, Tyson, before he went to jail, okay, and before he stopped training, you know, he would get, there's a highlight out there that he got so low, ducking to the ground, he'd come up. He was a smart fighter. He was using his boxing skills. Joe Frazier used it. He was a brawler too, don't get me wrong, but he had smart fighting, like Evander Holyfield. When, you know, Evander always ends up in a fight, always ends up in a brawl, and that's why people love to watch him. But in some of his biggest fights, when he would brawl, like against Riddick Bowe, he lost. But then, when he was smart and boxed and held and clinched and did stuff you got to do in certain fights, he won them. I guess it's just getting old, man. Just like Hopkins and Calzaghe. Hopkins, the first 5 rounds, was ahead on the scorecards. Let me see the time. He held the lead early, and Hopkins landed the bigger punches throughout the fight. I will not give him that. If you think Hopkins won by a short little margin, that's cool. I think so too. I had Calzaghe winning just by a round, just because he was busier. But I understand. Sometimes they show CompuBox, and Calzaghe landed 28 punches, and you know Hopkins would only land 12 or 14, but he had the bigger punches. So I can understand tie rounds or even giving a round, whatever. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and there is plenty of fights where it starts out slow and then gets into a brawl, and that's what I think that they don't get enough credit for. Okay, Floyd and guys like that, Pernell Whitaker was in plenty of brawls. You know, Pernell Whitaker is hardly known on YouTube, it seems like, especially with the youth. This guy could defend himself and throw a punch back. I mean, Oscar De La Hoya had fast hands and very powerful. And if you see a highlight, I don't know, it was like midway through the fight, he threw like 12, 15 punches, and Pernell ducked every single one and then would catch him back. So I just don't think they get enough respect. I understand you want to see a great brawl. Everybody does. But if a guy boxes and brawls and, you know, punches and bunches, you got to respect that too. Don't act like, I mean, there's been so much made of big punchers that can just brawl. And you know what? They get beat by boxers with more skill, who choose their times. Or if someone's hurt or tired, then go. You know what I mean? And I think that just call someone a coward is ridiculous. And I'm trying to look at some other stuff. Here's a perfect example, okay? Floyd Mayweather and Oscar, okay? It was a competitive fight for the first chunk. Now, a lot of people hated the 9th, 10th, and 11th round, okay? In fact, let me check the time. In fact, go back and check those out. But Mayweather got blamed. But if you look at it, if you look at how many punches he landed, the busier fighter, it was actually Floyd. Oscar he said he was trying to save his energy for later in the 12th round when he finally spazzed out the last minute and a half. But he said that. But then even later, now that he's retired, he did say that he was kind of losing it and he just couldn't keep up with him. But and he could feel his skills diminish. But of course, Floyd got blamed for that. Now I understand some of the blame because of his personality that he brings to the boxing public. I'm not saying that. But to blame the 9th, 10th, and 11th on Floyd, go rewatch the fight. It's on YouTube. Just the 9th, 10th, and 11th. Floyd was active, okay? He was just being smart. He was at a weight class he had never been at with a guy with power, okay? That's all it was. And like I said, I'm not a Floyd apologist, but I gotta go. Anyway, leave your comments. Let me tell you what, tell me. And I know you're gonna use all those words I told you not to use, so whatever. Peace.